Hello, it says we're live. It says we're live. But can you hear me? Like I'm in a new place and I just need to know if you can hear me live. I'm gonna hit this button and check to see what mic I have. Yeah, I should have the right mic. I should be live, live, live. All right. Type in the chat. Click the link to say that you're in StreamYard or you're going in StreamYard so that I can see your comments. Hi, Allison. Yes. Awesome. Thanks. So here we are, day 2. Are you excited for day 2? I'm excited for day 2. What was day 1? Day 1, we went over all the topics and we talked about the art of influence and influencing your people. And before we get started in today, which is the science of scorecards, you might notice my background, my setup's a little bit different today. And it's because Mercury is in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde. I don't know what that means, people. I do not. I don't at all know what it means. But it has something to do with your technology. It can go wonky. It can. So today, I got up this morning. I was totally prepared for this afternoon. And if you don't know me, Jennifer Takagi, by the way, I have a baking business also. And so I was baking some cookies this morning. And Allison, she knew that Mercury was in retrograde because she's been off. So I got up this morning, I made these cookies and I was frosting them. I was listening to an audiobook. I'm really big on audiobooks, love audiobooks. So I am just doing cookies. My little puppy is with me this week. She often stays with my husband. We have 2 places and we go back and forth, and he needs a reason to go home and eat dinner. So I leave the puppy with him. And she has to have heart surgery. And so we're going to go to Kansas to have heart surgery. So I'm letting her in and out of the backyard or, in and out of the house, and she's terrorizing the cats, and that's what they do. And I had not had a TV on, internet, nothing, because I was frosting cookies. I hadn't even taken a shower because I'm in my own kitchen frosting my cookies. And imagine my devastation when I find out my internet's out. It's totally out. So I call Cox Communication and they say that, yeah, it's out in my area. It should be returned at 4:30 Central. Well, it's 4:02 and we're live, people. I didn't have time for that. I tried to turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone so I could use it as a hotspot, right? Because that works beautifully. And it wouldn't even do that. I have Verizon, that usually works. And so I got hold of my friend who has helped me out in the past when I am in a crisis mode and let me come to her office because they have extra conference rooms and lets me move in. I've told them if they need me to do training for them, I'll do it as payback because here I am again. I'm real hopeful when I get done with my day this afternoon that I'll have internet when I get home. But who knows? Who even knows? It's crazy. In the fall, I was without internet for 3 weeks. Then my sunroom flooded because of no internet, no power, still getting the house put back together. So crazy things happen. And I tell you this not so you can say, poor Jennifer, bless her heart. Although I'll take it. You can say if you want. But I'm telling you this because these things happen. This is life. These things happen. And my question for you today, being a superstar manager, how frazzled do you get when things don't go right? How frazzled do you get? In the fall, with our 3 weeks of no internet, it was hard. It's really hard when you have no internet, you work from home, everybody's working from home. It's just it's a struggle. It's totally a struggle. And the Cox communication guy came and was in my my backyard, checking the cable box and stuff. He finds the problem. He's going to turn it in. And when I go to, I walk him from the backyard to the front yard, he's leaving. The lady 2 doors down comes and just verbally attacks this poor young man that she has all these problems, blah, blah, blah. She's going to be fired because we don't have internet, or she didn't have electricity because we didn't have electricity for a number of days too. And I thought, you're yelling at the Cox cable guy about internet or about power. Okay, they're not the same, and they're not the same company. And I don't know the lady. She's now since moved, but I didn't know her. But I just thought, oh, bless your heart. Like, you totally don't get who's responsible for what. So, what do you need to do as a manager, as a leader? You can't get frazzled. You have to hold it together. I mean, the first thing I did was laugh because somebody said Mercury was in retrograde, whatever that means. It means your internet may or may not work. But I found another solution. And in the fall, when this happened, I went on Facebook and said, I need internet, I need quiet, I need power. Who has it? And I had like 5 responses. So you have to be flexible. You have to be able to reach out for help. And so today in the science of scorecards, that just kind of like goes with it, right? Because we have to keep track of things. We have to keep track. We have to know who's doing what and when. And so as a manager, you've moved into a new scope. You're in a new realm, and the responsibilities you have are different than they used to be. And it can be a real big struggle to take on a new position and let go of your old stuff. Let go of your old stuff, because chances are, if you're anything like me at all, you loved what you did before you became a manager. Because I loved what I did. I didn't want to give it up. We had a few arguments about whether or not I was actually going to give it up. And of course I did. Like, right? You have to. And that is like the first piece of today. You now are on the balcony and you're looking at the dance floor. You're on the balcony looking at the dance floor. And if you have your hand out, like that's the first thing on here, that's the first question. You are on the balcony looking at the dance floor. So when somebody told me that, I was like, I don't even get that. I don't know what that means. Like, what? And what it means is you're not the one doing the dance. You're not the one doing the dance. You are on the balcony watching the dance. You are watching the people do the work. And then you're giving them suggestions to do better. You're giving suggestions to do better. You probably taught them the dance steps, what dance was going to be done, when it was going to be done, because now you're on the balcony. And when you are on the balcony, then you really need to be able to know what the vision and the goals of the organization are. So tell me in the chat, do you know? Let's see if oh, look, I can do that. There we go. Yeah, look at me, Allison. I clicked the right button. You need to know the vision of the organization, and you need to know the goals. So when I went to work for an organization, I kept hearing people talk about the goals. So I asked a colleague of mine, well, what are the goals? Like, do I need to know what the goals are? She said, no, you absolutely do not need to know what the goals are. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is not looking at the goals. Your responsibility is to do your job. Okay. Well, I took that advice because nobody gave me any other advice. So, okay, fine. I'm just going to do my job. Perfect. We're good to go. Well, what I found out over time was I needed to know what the goals were. And as a matter of fact, they changed the way our annual ratings were so that we were responsible for pieces of the goals. And if the goals weren't met, that directly was reflected on our year-end reviews. So now it became more important that I know what the goals are, that I understand what they are as an employee, right? That's my employee, that's my job. So what's your job as the manager? Well, your job is to make sure that your people know what the goals are after you know what they are, right? You have to know them first. You have to know what the goals are, share those with your employees to make sure they understand what the goals are, what the vision of the organization is. And then you have to take it one step further. Make sure they understand the job that they do and how it ties in to the goals. So, employee engagement, get people involved, get them engaged, find out what their ideas and input, right? That was yesterday. That was so long ago. Yesterday was so long ago. But now we're just taking that one step further. We're making sure that they can be engaged, they can be involved because they understand the goals and the mission of the organization. The goals and the mission of the organization. So if you are watching live, thank you for being here. Type in the chat. Do you know what the organizational goals are and what the vision of the goal is, or the vision of the organization and the goals, and what your position is, like how it all comes together? Put in the chat. If you are watching a replay, please comment in the chat because we can still go back and see your comments later. Do you understand your role and how it fits? Now, as a manager, you're no longer doing the work. You're no longer doing the work, right? Because you're overseeing the work. You're overseeing it. You're not doing it anymore. You're not doing the work anymore. So you have to be clear on whose role is what. And it can be really hard, but you have to give that up. Why should you delegate? Like, why is that important for you to delegate? So we have on our handout, we've got a couple of things. You must delegate for multiple reasons. You have to develop your employees' skills. Develop your employees' skills. They need to learn more, do more, so that either they can take over your job, they can go someplace else, whatever it is. You have to make sure that you're developing their skills. People get bored. People get bored. They want to know new things and they want to understand how it fits together. So be sure that you help them with that. You need to have time to engage in the bigger picture. You need time to engage in the bigger picture. Why? Because you're responsible for the bigger picture. You're part of the bigger picture now, right? So you've got to develop your employee skills. You have got to have time to engage in the bigger picture. And you're responsible for meeting the organizational goals. And your goals play into the vision of the organization. It all goes together. It also helps to increase the trust both ways. It increased the trust both ways. So it's kind of like when I said yesterday, I was asked to attend a conference call and take notes at a conference call. And oh my gosh, I just thought I was, all that and a bag of chips until I found out what happened at conference calls. But I really wanted that. That was a new responsibility. It was an additional responsibility. So you have to build that trust with them. They need to understand that you're going to give them more responsibility. As they do more, they're going to trust you to give them more responsibility, and you're going to trust them because guess what? They're going to do it, and they're going to do it well. It's just really important to build that trust, that camaraderie between you, so that they know when you say something, you mean it, and when they say something, you mean it too, right? So it all kind of comes together. Yes, meet goals, have more time. Yeah, thanks, Allison, for typing those in the chat. I appreciate that. The number one main reason that you have got to delegate, the number one main reason, it's number 5 on here, but it's truly the number one main reason, is you can't do it all. You can't do it all. There aren't enough hours in a day. You hear about work-life balance and work-life integration. Very cool terms, cool thoughts. But the bottom line is you just can't do it all. Pop that up there. You can't do it all. Absolutely cannot do it all. So you have to train your people to do those functions that are their job, right? You need to understand that's their job versus your job. So as you are training your people, giving them more responsibility, what does that look like? What does delegation look like? Like you've got the rush and run, like you're on your way out the door and you drop something on somebody and say, hey, I need you to get this done by close of business. And you run out and they're not sure what to do. Yeah, that is a horrible way to delegate. But guess what? We do it all the time. We do it all the time. So I am not the best artist in the universe. I actually had to go to YouTube and get some guidance on how to do this. But this is a whale. Can you see that? Is that coming through? So that is a whale. And yes, I drew that whale. Like all on myself, I drew that whale. All right. So when you have this whale, what you're looking at on the whale's tail, that little piece of their tail, that is how much time we usually spend explaining what we want somebody to do. Then that next part, before we go up on the big hump of the whale and the end of the head, that's how much time the employee spends struggling to figure out how to do it. And then the big piece, this right here, like all of this, that's how much time you have to spend doing all the work yourself. Did you get that? That's how we typically delegate. And then it comes down to crunch time and all the work has to be done and it hasn't been done. And we end up having to do it ourselves. Why? Because we did not spend time showing them how to do it in the first place. We didn't set our expectations. Occasionally, we will have expectations that are, this is a new project. I'm going to turn it over to you. And this is what I want in the end. I think it was General Patton, possibly, in World War II. And he said something along the lines of, tell people what you want done and then walk away and be amazed at what a great job they do. That's not the exact quote, but it's along those lines. Sometimes you don't know exactly what you want. You just kind of have a somewhat of an idea. Fine. Be clear about that. Be clear about that. I don't have a full, clear idea of what I want this to look like or what I want this to be. However, in the end, it needs to accomplish this. But on the other hand, if you know exactly what you want, exactly what you need, let's say it's a report that has to be done exactly the same way all the time. You have got to take the time to explain that to them. Make sure they understand fully and explicitly what you want them to do, how it needs to look. Maybe you need to sit down with them and show them what to do and then have them show it back to you. Maybe it's a little basic communication of you telling them what you want done and have them play it back to you and tell you what they think they just heard, what they need to do. Communication. It's all about communication. So when you delegate, make sure that you have enough time to do it, or you're going to be sorely disappointed in the outcome. So if I had another piece of paper, I would flip that whale around and say, you need to spend, wait, I'm backwards. This much time explaining. Oh, wait, let's do it this way. Maybe I can see it. Do this much time explaining. Oh, you can't do this backwards. It's really hard. Spend the big part explaining, and then you don't really have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to worry about it because they know how to do it. right? You can have an interaction about it. Yeah, make sure you have enough time to explain. If you don't have enough time to explain what you need, it's problematic, right? It's problematic. As an entrepreneur, I run into that a lot because I've hired people to do stuff and I thought I was clear as can be. And then they come back with something that I wasn't expecting. And that's on me, right? And sometimes I'm clear. I don't really know what I need. Can we like talk about this and work this out? So it all comes down to that communication. So you need to have plenty of time to tell them what you want, what you need, what you expect, and give them an opportunity to comply. Now, the other thing about delegating is then you have to follow up. And when you follow up, then does that look like micromanaging? Does that look like micromanaging? Everybody raise your hand if you love to be micromanaged. I love to be micromanaged. No, you hated it. You hated it. We all hate it. But now you're in a new position and you're scared. You are scared that if you don't micromanage, if you don't follow up, the work isn't going to be done. Okay, great. I have been there. I have been there. I have lived it. If I don't follow up with all of my people, I won't know for sure they're going to get it done. And then it's all going to come back on me. So then what do you do? Then what do you do? How do you make that happen? Well, my favorite thing is to call it a milestone. Call it a milestone. I used to hate it. My boss would give me something to do on Monday. Tuesday should say, hey, where are you on that? Wednesday, where are you on that? I have a deadline of Friday. I had other work to do. I didn't drop everything to do that because, wait, she didn't say drop everything and do this first. So it really became, if she gave me something to do, I did. I dropped everything else to get that done because she was going to be driving me absolutely insane until I got it done. What's a better way? Set milestones. Set milestones. If something is due on Friday, you give it to your employee on Monday, and you might say, Wednesday morning, I want to have a little check in, see where you are, and if I can support you and help you in any way, or if you have all of the supplies, the data, whatever, to complete it by Friday. And then Wednesday, you have that conversation. Where are you? How's it going? Let me tell you how this was a total fail on my part. I'm very happy to tell stories on myself because I want you to do things better, right? So it's easy for me to tell stories. I receive reports all the time on where different projects were in the pipeline, like how far they were, when their due dates were. And there was this one task that was pretty arduous. It was pretty arduous. And when the packages came in, and this was regarding loans, mortgages, notes, mortgages, and the packages came in and they're like 3 inches thick. Sometimes you had two boxes of each being 3 inches thick. So, okay, that's 6 inches. Yeah, I get it. So then we come in. The first thing was there were checklists that had to be done. And you had to see if the package was even complete. Was the package even complete? So if you did the checklist and the package wasn't complete, you would send it back. You would kick it out. It was done. Your 30 days clock was over because you returned it. And if they resubmitted with everything there, then you had a new 30 days. So we're coming down on like day 20 of a 30-day due date. And I just moseyed over to the employee and I said, hey, I just wanted to touch base on that. And she said, yeah, I haven't started it. And well, what? Well, I haven't started it. Um, but did you do the checklist? Is it even complete? Well, I don't know. I haven't done that either. Okay, so pull that out of the box right now and do the checklist right now and see if there's anything missing or incomplete so we can stop our time frame because we've got less than 10 days to get this out of here. if anything was a problem, like we didn't have any time to fix it at this point unless it wasn't complete. So luckily, she found something that she could email them about and stop the clock and buy us 4 or 5 days so they could, complete this one document. And then it was like all hands on deck. Everybody had to come together and process a piece of this so that when they did submit that minor little thing that was missing, we'd be ready to go because it hadn't been done. Totally on me. That is me. That was on me as a manager for not setting those milestones. I did not have milestones in place for them to come back to me and say, step one is complete. I have a totally complete package. Or to be able to say, which was actually the case here, I don't have a clue in the world how to do this. Let me know that you don't know how to do this because we could have been hands on deck like on day one instead of day 20 trying to scramble to get it done. So make sure that there are milestones. If there are checklists that have to be done within a certain number of days that something came in, make sure you're following up to make sure those kinds of things are done. Because if they are not being done, in the end, it's all on you. And I don't say that to scare you or make it worse. I'm just telling you so you can plan for that. Plan for that so that you know what is going on with your team. So you know what's going on with your team. They need to understand the goals of the organization. They need to understand the vision of the organization. And they really, really, really need to understand how their job, how what they do, the tasks they're required to perform are important and fit into the bigger mission of the organization. Now, somebody is sitting there thinking, yeah, well, nobody did that for me when I had my job, when I was just an employee before I was a manager. Why should I do it for them? Be better. Be better. Don't just say, because this didn't work for me, I'm not going to do it for somebody else. Whatever fails you feel happened with your previous bosses, write out a plan to do it differently and better. It's one thing to have a plan of, I'm not going to do this, kind of like as kids. Mom said, because I said so. And you're like, when I had kids, I'm never going to say that. Well, I didn't have kids, so I'm not ever going to get shamed for saying because I said so. But that frustrated us as a kid because I said so. I had a cousin one time say, I swore I was never going to say because I said so to my kids until I did. And I found myself sounding just like my mother. And I swore I would never do that. Well, what I have learned along the way, you know what you don't want to do or what you don't want to be or how you don't want to come across. But we don't take that next step and make a plan for how we do want to show up. What do we want people to think about us? What reputation do we want to have? So when you're considering how you want to delegate, take a little bit of time and look at how it was not done right for you and what the consequences were. And take time to figure out what it should look like, what it could look like, what you do want it to look like. Because if you don't take that second step on what you do want it to look like, you're destined to repeat the past. The same mistakes that were made before, you're going to keep making. So you have to make a new plan. What do you want this really to look like? So those of you who are new managers, you're new to this world, I want you to look at what you do during a day. And you might need to write it down, like, what did I do over the last couple of days? What am I responsible for? What do I do? And then I want you to list 5 things that you do on a regular basis. 5. And then I want you to pick one. Pick one thing that you don't really need to do. One thing that you can delegate to somebody. And then I want you to plan out how you're going to delegate that. How much time are you going to take to show them how to do it, explain to them what to do, making sure you do the reverse whale, so that they know what to do in the end before you walk away. So they know what you to do. Because the worst thing you can do is delegate something to somebody and then you be frustrated because they didn't do what you expected them to do, right? What? So make sure that you explain it fully. Now, for those of you who are in this Superstar Masterclass, I have a 30-day challenge started yesterday. It's not too late to join and keep up. And it is a 30-day challenge, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, so that thanks, Allison. To keep you on track for building your leadership and management skills. If you would like the link to join and you would like the coupon code so you don't have to pay the $99, I will give it to you free because you're in this class. Help keep you on target. It's a super little thing. You get a text in the morning. It will give you a daily motivation, and there are some little micro trainings in there. Super helpful to help solidify your learnings, right? It goes hand in hand with this masterclass. That's why I launched it on the same day. So if you are interested, message Allison, message me. We will get that to you. You have gotten emails from us, right? So email us back, say you want the codes you want in. We're happy to get that to you. And the whole goal is to build your management skills, build your leadership skills, so you can step into who you really want to be and who you're meant to be. So, questions, comments. I'm gonna give it a second to see if anybody has any questions or comments. Put it in the chat. Message us. So yesterday we talked about the art of influence, influencing your people to get the job done, employee engagement, treat them well. Today, scorecards. The scorecards are the goals. The scorecards are the tasks you give them to do. Pick one thing. Pick one thing you're going to delegate. Take a picture, put your homework in. Put your homework in the group, because somebody who puts all their homework in, I have a free gift for you at the end of the week. All right. I don't see any questions coming up. I do not. So I am going to let you go. Tomorrow, day 3, we're going to talk about the coaching framework and what it looks like to coach your employees to get them to do what you need them to do and what skills you need to employ to make this happen. So I am Jennifer Takagi with Takagi Consulting. I am going to let you go. Have a great evening. Those of you on the replay, thank you so much for catching the replay. Put your comments in there. Allison and I will be looking for them and responding for you. Talk to you soon. Thank you.